Hi everybody, it's Julia, your trusted travel expert from Matheson Travel, helping you find that je ne sais quoi wherever you are in the world. Today I'm actually coming to you from the island of Hispaniola. I'm on the Dominican Republic side, and Punta Cana at the Club Med, and it's absolutely beautiful, but what has just happened, a hurricane has actually just passed over. We really got the western edge of the hurricane. Luckily we were not in Haiti or Jamaica or Cuba, which are of course getting hit really hard by this Hurricane Matthew. But obviously, because there's a hurricane going on right now, I wanted to talk to you about how to prepare, what to do if you've got a trip booked with a hurricane. And so really, regarding hurricanes and the Caribbean, you kind of have two choices. You either avoid the Caribbean completely from midsummer to apparently October, or you decide to go and you buy insurance. And that's the key, is you really have to buy insurance, because that really helps you out big time if a hurricane should come. So you've decided to go, you've decided to risk it, so now a hurricane comes. It's either going to arrive before you get there, or it might pop up and even hit while you're actually on property. So if a hurricane looks like it's going to hit where you're going, first of all, it is a little bit of a waiting game, because I know a couple of days before I left, I wasn't sure if I was going to be just sitting in a hurricane or if I was going to be sitting in perfectly nice weather like we're having today. So you really, the paths of the hurricanes are really uncertain, and so you do have to sort of wait until the last very minute to make your decision. If you decide, and it's really also up to the airlines and the properties that you're visiting. Airlines and properties are going to wait as long as they possibly can to issue, refunds or cancel flights and that kind of thing. So, if you're watching the weather and you're watching the forecast and it really looks like it's going to hit, that's when you give a call to your travel agent, whoever you booked your trip with. Maybe it's the airline directly, and see if you can either, if you're flexible with your dates, move your dates. That might help. Sometimes if you book with a chain like Sandals, for example, they may let you go to a different resort rather than the one you were originally booked for that's in the path of the hurricane. But I'm telling you, they really don't want to change until they absolutely have to. So again, that's where travel insurance comes into play. If you decide that you're just really too scared and you don't want to mess with it, you don't want to have a rainy vacation possibly, or a little bit of a windy one like I'm having, then you're going to have your insurance kick in. But that's another thing I want you to know, is that unless the weather event has already been declared an emergency, the resorts are closed, the flights are canceled, it's not a covered reason usually. So that's another reason why cancel for any reason, the cancel for any reason addition that you can then add to your policy is something that you really want to look at, because being worried about weather is not a covered reason, unfortunately. Now, obviously, if it's far enough in advance that, the island that you're planning on going to or the resort that you're going to is, smushed by the hurricane, then, your cancellation is usually covered. The other thing is, let's say that the hurricane makes a sudden turn and you didn't think you were going to get hit, but you do get hit. You're already on property, you're on an island, and, the hurricane hits. Obviously, then you want to sit tight and you want to listen to the resort. You don't want to, obviously, safety is priority, and so you're going to want to follow the instructions of the people that are leading the response there on property. But if it does turn and it looks like it's going to hit you guys directly before you're flying out, that's when you want to try and preemptively plan as much as you can. Either call the airlines before the flights are canceled, before it arrives, to either move your departure to a day before the storm, or maybe plan it for a couple days. If it's just a quick moving storm and it's going to just pass through in one day and that's your departure day, maybe move your departure to the next day or the previous day. It really just sort of depends on how big the storm is, how quick it's moving, and stuff like that. But again, I just want to reiterate that, first of all, storms are extremely unpredictable, and before I came down to the Dominican Republic, I really wasn't sure what kind of weather I was going to be having, and as you can tell behind me, it's a perfectly gorgeous day. My first 2 days were a little cloudy, a little rainy, a little windy. Today's a little breezy, but it's absolutely beautiful. I kind of wish I hadn't been in a meeting all day today. And so they're very unpredictable, so it may be doom and gloom on the news, but then you get there and it's really fine. So sometimes you can sort of just grin and bear it, but sometimes you really want to preemptively, shift some things around. I mean, if I had been planning on going to the Bahamas this weekend, in fact, I've canceled a trip. We were planning on being in Charleston this weekend. I was tacking on another trip to this one, and it's just not going to happen. I mean, they've already evacuated South Carolina and all of that, but I will tell you that my airline has not yet made it possible for me to completely cancel my flight without fees. So I'm probably going to have some fees that I will then claim on my insurance that I have. So that's sort of how you navigate hurricanes from an insider. And I hope that was helpful, and hopefully you stay dry wherever you are. I'm gonna go jump in the pool. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.